in the sun had darkened his complexion from light brown to something that verged on purple. He was as beautiful as the boat he lay on, and she was no hag. Her hull was bone white, her deck as smooth as good bourbon. She had been the jewel of the Hudson ever since the night he stole her from the East Side docks and christened her in my honor, the Misery Queen. I trailed my fingers across his gut. He hated being tickled, and so I did it every chance I got. "Our pet is missing. You're not concerned?" "Birds go. They come back or they don't. For all we know, she winters in New Orleans." I opened the bench where we stashed tangled rope and canvas. I shoved the mess aside and tried to hide my irritation when I didn't find what I required. "Where is my bag?" "What bag?" "The sack where I keep my lockpicks and notes and all the other junk that goes into my work. Where's it gone?" "In the cabin, under the bunk. You weren't using it, so I put it away." "I see." He stood, leaving a gleaming patch of sweat on the bench. He smelled more powerfully of river than the Hudson itself. The closer he got, the easier it was to forget I was annoyed. "Going back to work," he said, the lump in his throat bobbing like the water beneath our feet. "Just thinking of asking around after our goal." "One of your tiny mysteries." "Maybe so." His eyes slid away from me. He drew a meaningful breath. I waited for him to gather the words I was forcing him to say. "I was dreaming of flying," he said. "A year ago, more." "I recall." "Swooping around the skyscrapers up in Midtown, scaring the hell out of the working stiffs. I had these massive white wings." "Sounds lovely." "It was, and you shook me awake, you monster, tears in your eyes, and told me you were swearing off honest work. 'I'm going to pieces,' you said. 'I need a good long break. No mysteries, tiny or otherwise.' You made me promise to hold you to it." I had. For more than a year now, he had helped me resist temptation. When the coasters began disappearing from the saloons, I did not wonder where they'd gone. When scratching sounds were heard underneath the boardwalk, I fought the urge to cut a hole in the wood and see what they were. I'd refused all requests to go hunting for lost wallets, watches, brooches, bracelets, and fiancés. Curiosity had nearly gotten me killed too many times. I was learning to resist its call. But when Grover Hartley disappeared, the little voice in my head screamed "Why?" louder than it had in a long time. A dizzying sickness welled up in me. I was on a precipice, unable to decide which way to fall. There was no harm, I hoped, in letting him make my choice. "Go ahead, then. Hold me to it." "Let the gull take care of herself until after Labor Day." "And what shall I do in the meantime?" "Relax." He threw his arms wide as he said it, flinging sweat into the current. Upon his shoulders sat the boardwalk, the city, and the sky. It seemed impossible that anyone could want more than that. "Enjoy our happy retirement." "We're too young to retire." "Pre-tirement, then. We've earned it." He was close enough for my eyes to trace every crack in his full lips. I slid my hand up his back and pulled him to me, kissing him until his knees buckled and we sank to the deck. Relax. There was nothing harder for me to do. But for him, for us, I would try. I threaded my fingers around his. Light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. No matter how much sun he got, I grew ever more pale. I squeezed his hand until it hurt us both. "I'll give it till Labor Day," I said. "I don't want this to end." "It doesn't have to. The water's not going anywhere, and neither am I." If I'd been feeling petulant, I'd have reminded him the water was going somewhere all the time.